Hey friends, this is Jordan with O & Co Games. My team of 3, Ray, Noah, and myself are making a pixel platformer that is centered around satisfying levels of difficulty and compelling characters in a consciously crafted story. The game is called Tethergeist. You can wishlist it on Steam with the link below, and welcome to our devlog. The last couple of weeks have been nuts. I've been working on our game's file save system, which I'll talk about in future devlogs. I've been building out the functionality for our overworld, also something I'll be talking about in future devlogs. Noah and Ray have been refining the art style for Chapter 2. They also made this incredible new banner art along with tons of other new art assets, and we've been playtesting the crap out of Tethergeist using our Steam decks in public venues. All of that stuff is super exciting and I can't wait to share more, but right now the biggest thing on our plate is that we will be running a booth at PAX West, one of the biggest gaming conventions in the United States. I've honestly never been to PAX West, so a lot of this is new to me, and while I'm a bit nervous, most of those nerves are totally drowned out by my excitement to go, learn from the experience, make impactful contacts, and hopefully grow the audience for Tethergeist along the way. So I figure in this devlog, I'll share with you all of the work we're putting into prepping for PAX West, and why we think it's worth the time, effort, and frankly high price tag to run a booth there. So a while back, Noah applied to be an exhibitor at PAX West. It took them some time to get back to us, so we kind of assumed we weren't accepted, but just a couple weeks ago, they reached out and told us we could run our own booth there. It's nothing flashy. We get a space that's 10 feet by 10 feet, but it's at PAX West, and from what I can tell, the floor layout lends itself well to allow just about every booth to get a fair amount of foot traffic. We'll be located here in case anyone is going to PAX and you want to come say hi. Now, prepping for our booth at PAX has been a pretty big undertaking. We watched this video of Nikolai Berbece, the founder of Those Awesome Guys, presenting at GDC on how to effectively showcase an indie game at a conference like PAX. It honestly provided tons of fantastic insights that not only served to help us get some clear points to follow, but also bring to light just how much work it's going to take. There's just a lot that goes into tabling at a conference that you never really think of until you're faced with doing it. Things like making sure enough electricity is coming to your booth, or logistics on making your own signs, renting equipment, and strategic things like designing activities at your booth to engage with people who are spectating your game, since only a few people can be playing it at any given time. Nikolai also pointed out that the contacts you make at conventions are arguably the biggest return you get from going. Sales aren't necessarily impacted so much. At any rate, beyond watching that talk, we've done a good amount of research just figuring out what to expect and what attendees are looking for. Not to mention Noah and Ray have tabled many conventions with their creative work, so we feel like we're at least as prepared as we can be at this point in our journey. Now, we'll be designing our booth to very intentionally grab attention with a large screen showing gameplay footage, signs and lights that strategically leverage the vertical space of our booth, and a couple of stations where people can play Tethergeist. Which brings me to the next part of our preparation, making the convention version of Tethergeist. As the game stands now, most people take over an hour to complete the playtestable build we have on Steam. At a convention, we not only don't want to ask people to play our game for over an hour, but it would be a waste of the precious time we have there to only have a handful of people play something they could just as easily go play on their own after the convention. Not to mention, we want to showcase more of the game than just Chapter 1. So we set out designing a convention version of Tethergeist, one that can be played in 10 to 20 minutes and that showcases the scope of the game. We decided we wanted to include about 4 to 8 minutes of gameplay of Chapter 1, 4 to 8 minutes of gameplay of Chapter 2, and a couple of minutes of gameplay of Tethergeist's Spirit Realm, which is something I'll get into more in future devlogs. To make this a more seamless experience, we designed a menu screen that is unique to the convention build. It acts like a sort of sample plate. Players will play a short section of Chapter 1, which then unlocks a short section of Chapter 2, and finally this short section of the Spirit World. We've playtested this build a few times, and we found that it hits the sweet spot, taking players about 15 to 20 minutes. It's long enough to showcase what players can expect from Tethergeist, but short enough that we don't take up tons of their time, and we're able to get more people playing the game each day we're there. Now, running a table at PAX is not cheap, and we want to make sure we're getting as much value out of the event as we possibly can. So we've set some basic metrics we'll be tracking to measure the success of our trip. We are mainly looking at how many wish lists we'll be able to get as a result of the event, how many press associates and content creators we can get in contact with and hopefully have showcase our game, and of course, just trying to increase our reach as a whole of people who know and recognize Tethergeist. Beyond that, there are plenty of other avenues of success that are harder to measure. Things like how much we're able to contribute to the indie dev community by sharing our experiences there, and lessons and key takeaways we'll have as a team to implement in our game design process. So all in all, hopefully this will be a good experience for us. Time will tell. PAX West runs from August 30th to September 2nd this year, and once it's in the rearview mirror, you can be sure I'll be making a video talking about how it went and what we learned. So if you're interested in following along with our progress, don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube. Anyway, that about wraps things up for this devlog. We've got a lot of really exciting things coming up in the near future. Between the large amount of progress we continue to make on Tethergeist and the big convention out in Seattle we'll be going to, we're honestly just more and more excited about where Tethergeist is headed. If it's a game you're interested in playing, we'd be super grateful if you headed over to Steam and wishlisted it. We have a build of the game over there that you can playtest as well. We also have a Discord server where you can chat with us directly, hang out with our community, and follow along with our progress. All of the links you'll need are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.